Have you ever really thought about the very beginning of your life story? I mean, really tried to go back? Because there's this strange puzzle hiding there, something we all share. A huge chunk of our own history is just gone. Okay, let's get into this.
Go on, take a second. What is the very first thing you can remember? Can you picture it? Maybe it's a birthday party, or a scraped knee, or the smell of your grandma's house. Just try to nail it down. How old were you?
If you're like pretty much everyone else, that first memory probably pops up somewhere around age 3, maybe even 4 or 5. But everything before that, it's just a fog, a total blank space right where the first chapters of your life are supposed to be.
Well, this has a name, of course. It's called childhood amnesia. And for more than 100 years, it's been a huge scientific puzzle. Why can't we access those first few years? Well, in 2004, two researchers, Catherine Nelson and Robin Fivish, came up with this incredible theory that didn't just explain the blank space, but it totally changed how we think about memory itself. It suggested memory is something we actually have to learn.
So first, let's take a closer look at this so-called blackout. What is actually going on in our brains during those first few years?
Right, so the first thing you need to know is that this isn't about baby brains just being unable to record stuff. That's a common misconception. We know from tons of research that even really young infants can remember faces, actions, routines, sometimes for weeks or months. So the memories are being made. The real question is, where do they go?
And this is where Nelson and Fivish's idea comes in. They argued that we've been asking the wrong question all along. It's not about some barrier blocking old memories. Instead, they said the kind of memory we use to tell our life story, that personal narrative memory, it just doesn't exist when we're born. It has to be built piece by piece.
Okay, so what is this special kind of memory? You know, the one we have to build from the ground up?
It's called autobiographical memory. And this is so much more than just remembering a fact, like the capital of France. This is about reliving an event from your own unique point of view. Think about the key parts here: a specific when, a specific where, and this is the most important part, a me. This is the memory system that makes you the main character in the movie of your life.
All right, so if we have to build this thing, what are the building blocks? Well, Nelson and Fivish said there are 3 absolutely essential ingredients that have to come together.
First up, you need language. Language is what gives us the tools, the words, the labels, the grammar, to take this messy, nonstop flow of experience and chop it up into a story. You know, a story with a beginning, a middle, and an end. Without words, an event is kind of just a vague feeling, but with words, it becomes a memory you can actually hold on to and share and revisit.
Second, you need a sense of self. A toddler has to figure out that the me who is having a tantrum right now is the same me that was laughing at a puppy yesterday. This idea of a continuous self becomes the main character that connects all the stories together. You can't have an autobiography without a main character, right?
And third, you need narrative skills. Think of this as the instruction manual for storytelling that we learn from our family and our culture. We're not born knowing how to tell a good story. We learn it. What details are important? What's the point of the story? We pick up these cultural scripts for what a memory is even supposed to sound like.
So, we've got the ingredients: language, self, and narrative skills. How do they all get mixed together? This is where we look at the actual assembly process, and it happens in that critical window of early childhood.
As you can see here, this is not an overnight thing. It's a slow, gradual assembly line. The basic parts, like remembering routines, are there pretty early. But it's only when language and a sense of me start to bubble up, and then parents start leading these storytelling sessions, that's when things really get going. And then finally, around age 5, the whole system clicks into place, and these coherent memories start to stick.
And here is the absolute key to the whole thing. This doesn't just happen inside a child's head in a vacuum. A kid doesn't just wake up one day with these skills. They are taught. They are practiced. And it all happens through social interaction.
To be specific, we learn to remember by talking about the past with our parents. These little conversations about, hey, remember when we went to the zoo? They are like a training ground for memory. It's where a child literally learns how to build a story, what details matter, and how to see themselves as the star of that story.
But it turns out not all of these memory conversations are created equal. The research found 2 very different styles of this memory coaching. There's a high elaborative style, which is really collaborative. The parent asks open-ended questions, they add fun details, and they basically build the story with the child. Then there's the low elaborative style, which is more like a quiz, just asking repetitive questions trying to get one specific right answer.
And you can see exactly what that looks like right here.
On the left, the high elaborative mom keeps the conversation flowing. The child says, "You tell me," and she does. She feeds him details to help him remember. They're building the memory together. Now look at the right. The low elaborative mom is just drilling for a fact. Who else went? The child gets it wrong, and the conversation just dies. The difference in the long run is massive.
Now, this whole idea of memory coaching doesn't just solve the puzzle of childhood amnesia. It also perfectly explains why our own personal memories can be so different from one another.
I mean, this theory explains all these fascinating variations we see. For example, some studies suggest that mothers tend to use that more elaborative style with daughters than with sons, which might be linked to why women, on average, have earlier and more detailed first memories. It also helps explain cultural differences, and most importantly, it explains individual differences. Your family's unique memory culture, the way you guys talked about the past, directly shaped your own ability to access your early life.
So, this all brings us to a really profound final thought, one that completely reframes how we should think about our own past.
The biggest takeaway from all of this is that your memories, especially those early ones, were never really just yours. They are co-creations. They were built together in conversations with the people who taught you how to remember in the first place. Your entire memory system was basically a gift from your community.
And as Nelson and the Fivush put it so perfectly themselves, the whole point of this amazing memory system isn't really just to be a personal diary. Its main job is social. It's to connect us with other people, to create a shared past.
So, the next time you think back to that first fragile memory, don't just see it as something that happened to you. Think of it as the first story you learned how to tell. And maybe ask yourself, who was there with you, helping you write it?